Anderson here, and we're going to show you how to roast your own fresh coffee beans, green ones in fact. And I get my green coffee beans from Dean's Beans, which is probably, he's one of the coolest guys that you'll ever get to meet if you ever get to meet him. And it's got a great company. These cost me around $5.95 a pound. And you can see these are Timor. We've got a bunch. We're gonna do it up here. And I'm doing this outside because it's a bit smoky. And I'm gonna do the whole video. And what we're gonna do is here, I'm gonna turn this on. And let's see here, mode is going to be, I'm gonna start it at 425. Hopefully, I don't know if you can see that or not, but 425. And we're just gonna pour them in here. And I've got, this is 1 pound, as you can see. And that's it. Now, I'm gonna speed this up so we don't have to go through this. But I've also got several different kinds. I've got Nicaraguan here, and I like to mix them. But I'm gonna show you how to do this. It's super simple, and once you try this, you will never, ever buy expensive coffee beans. And these are all organic and non-GMO'd. And I'm doing this from start to finish here. So we'll speed it up, and I'll give you the whole time. It usually takes about, I would say, 10 to 12 minutes once the skillet gets up to speed. And I'm just using a stainless steel skillet. You can do it in anything. You can do it on a gas range. I actually like doing that, but I put this outside here so that it doesn't smoke up the house, because it will smoke. And it smells good, but it'll set off the fire alarm, so you don't want that usually. And don't ask me how I know that. Not that I've ever done that, of course, but yes, actually I have several times. But I usually just pull the battery out and we're good to go. But today it's gorgeous outside, and we're gonna do it this way. So we're at about 2 minutes since I started this whole thing. It takes a little while to heat up, but it goes pretty quick. And this is a convection, or I mean not induction heater. And the pan's already pretty warm. We'll get there, and I may crank it up a little bit. And just wanna even them out. And we're just gonna sit here and wait. And since we're gonna speed this up, so I don't sound like Mickey Mouse when I do so, I'm just gonna remain quiet here momentarily and enjoy this beautiful day. And we're a couple minutes into this and starting to pop. And we're already starting to get some brownness in here. Let's see. As you can see, and then it's just a matter of moving it around. The key is, and I don't know if you can see the smoke coming off here yet. So we're only about 3 or 4 minutes into this. And that's it. And you're gonna think that you're burning them, but you're not. And depending on how dry the beans are, some of them are gonna go quicker than others, but it's all okay. And there's actually a little husk on the outside of these that will get brown or black first. And one of the things that, if you, the first time you do this, you're gonna think you're burning them, but you're not. And I gotta tell you, it smells really, really good already. And it's just a matter of constantly moving them around. And this is actually pretty hard to mess up. So then once you do it, it's good to go. And if you get these and try them, these coffee beans, the green ones, are about as hard as it gets. Couple things to know, and there's some really bad misinformation on the internet about this, is that the greener, the lighter the roast, the more caffeine in it, and also the more the chlorogenic acid, which actually helps you burn fat. So just FYI. So if you want a lot of caffeine, maybe a little bit less flavor, and chlorogenic acid, if you're into intermittent fasting or into any of the paleos or any of this other stuff, then you want to go with a lighter roast. There's a big difference in between how much caffeine and how much chlorogenic acid. And you can grind up green beans and do it, but you need an industrial grinder. It will ruin your coffee grinder if you try and put them in there. You need a regular corn grinder, and even those, it messes those up for livestock. And if you're on the Atkins diet, it works great too. And we're gonna go for a light roast here today, even though it'll look pretty dark. And I just pick it up and do this number. Hear the beeping. and you can see some of the husks are already flying off of there. You can use a wok or anything else. This is 1 pound. You don't want to do too much more than this at a time, although I've done up to 2 or 3 pounds, depending on how big the pan is. It just takes a lot longer and you've got more danger of flipping this out. So we're at, we're at minute 8, I think, on this. So that includes the heat up time, so we're not doing too bad. And there we go. Starting to look like ground coffee. I mean, fresh roasted coffee. And I don't know if it's picking up the smoke, but I think it is a little bit. It's a little bit higher, a little bit more. And you can either go with these straight coffee beans. If you like the flavor, experiment a little, do a mixture of them, which is what I like to do. I really like the Timor and the Nicaraguan. They're good. And the New Guinea ones too. The Papua New Guinea beans are really good. And the kicker is, with coffee beans, you really don't want to drink non-organic. They spray a ton of pesticides on them, and it's just bad news. They also use some herbicides that get picked up in the coffee trees that are kind of bad, and especially you want to avoid the glycophosphates. Now that's just my personal opinion. I'm not giving you medical advice, but just Google it. It's bad news. Mercola's actually, Dr. Mercola actually has some great info on that, and plus there's quite a few other places where you can find it. And you can see it's hopefully here. I'm going to try and get this down here so you can hear the crackling. Here we go. And there, it's smoking good. Like I said, if you've got a vent on your stove that goes outside, you can get away with doing this. But if not, if you can, figure out how to do it outside, and it works pretty well. And I'll give you a link to this on my heating unit. There's no open flame on this, which is great, and it's pretty safe. Although you can do it on anything. If your grill has a burner on it, go for it. You can even do this over on a propane or wood grill too. There we go. Getting pretty close. You can see it speeds up quite a bit, a little bit more, and you could actually call this a super light roast. And what you're going to want to look for, you can see this. Look how nice, and the oils are coming out in the beans. And when you grind this up and you taste it, it'll spoil you. This is going to be 10 times better than any Starbucks stuff that's done. And again, organic, GMO free from Dean's Beans. And no, I'm not getting paid anything on this. deansbeans.com. You can get them for less than $6 a pound, which is fantastic. And you don't really lose that much on a yield, because you're just heating them up. And it'll really get smoking now, and we're almost to the point here, maybe another minute or two and we'll be done. I'm going to turn this off here because I want to go for a really light roast. Pick this up. And then sometimes I take a hairdryer outside and I'll blow off these husks, but you don't have to. Make sure you let these cool down though, because it will melt your bag. These are really hot. I got this at 450. I turned it up a couple degrees here. And we're almost there, guys. So we're 12 minutes into this, which is really only about less than 10 minutes of cook time. Or roast time, sorry. Bet you didn't know it was this easy, did you? And they have commercial roasters you can buy for home that does this stuff automatically. And they have tumblers and all kinds of stuff, but this is about as cheap as you got. I think my heating unit was only $49 or something like that, and it works great. What to do is, we're at minute 14, and I'm going to turn this off. The heat's going to be on, the fan stays on to cool it down a little bit. Fresh ground coffee beans look like. Let me stir this up a little more. And it's kind of a judgment thing. If you do this a couple of times,